Hello, everybody. It's 7:30 on a Sunday, and you know what that means.
Hi, Dean. How you doing? It's good to see you again, Dean. Hi, guys. Sit
It means
down.
I need to get a haircut, and I got to get down there to Yuma, go to Mexico, get my haircut. Uh, and Jesse, today's a great topic. Jehovah needs to take a stand regarding ICE raids at a Kingdom Hall. Uh, has there been an ICE raid at a Kingdom Hall? No. But why is this very important? And if you're a Jehovah's Witness, why is this important? So, uh, did you have anything to say about that, or did you want to talk about something else, or what's the deal?
No, that was it's very deep, and it's, man, it could make for a long show because this is such an important subject. But I wanted to take a different angle, and I wanted to start off and apologize to your viewers at the GG for GB. And I have to make a confession. I want to start it off. I want to get it off my chest. And this subject that you put up earlier this morning, and I called you up. I go, hey, Gilbert, it's too deep, right? It's too deep. Can you tone down because it hurts so many millions of families. It hurts so many millions of Americans. And it's caused me great pain. And I think I have to get this confession. I have to get it off my chest. Are you willing to listen to it? Hey, you hear my chickens?
Yeah.
My roosters? Well, this is it. I know that in the GG for GB church, we shouldn't engage and we don't worship the word research. The roosters bother you?
No.
No, okay. But on this subject, Gilbert, I've been doing a lot of research. And I know I'm getting away from the core of the GG for GB channel. And I've been doing a lot of studying. I've been doing a lot of research. And I wanted to confess and get that off my chest. And I haven't been using a lot of instinct. And so, it's kind of, our great intelligent mother who brought us to earth.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were babies, she says, mijo, don't do so much goddamn research. Use your brains, cabron. And she would hit us in the back of the head. Mm-hmm. Oh, not you so much. She would call me cabron.
Yeah.
And what did she call you?
Mijo.
Okay. Me, she used cabron. But she was trying to teach us to use our instinct and quit researching everything. And she was almost successful. I mean, only one of her daughters went to the University of Arizona. So she was almost perfect. We missed out with one of our daughters. One of our sisters went to the University of Arizona. But she survived communist indoctrination and she came out pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to open up the show. And I've been doing a lot of research on this subject of the Jehovah's Witnesses having to say something about the immigration. And I hope you will allow me to continue on the show and not disfellowship me or put me on reproof.
That's good. No, we won't do that. Mm-hmm. And hey, so we're going to talk today about Jehovah needs to take a stand regarding ICE raids at a Kingdom Hall. But before we do that, we need to talk about this word called amicus brief.
Well, that was part of my research.
Yes. Now, I'm not saying that our Jehovah's Witness brothers are not very smart, but they are J-dubs. So what is an amicus brief? And it's real simple. The legal term, amicus curiae, right, is a Latin phrase that literally means friend of the court. The term is used to refer to a legal brief called an amicus brief that may be filed with an appellate court, including the Supreme Court, by a party not involved in the current case, but in support of one side or another on the legal issue at hand. Now, this is very important because an amicus brief, when it talks about here, like the United States Supreme Court, they get so much. Just think about it. You're in the United States Supreme Court. You're being bombarded with all of this stuff, all of these cases, and you decide to take on a case, and so you have to bring experts into the field, into the room, right? Hence, friends of the court. So these people are supposed to bring the justices up to speed. So, look, do you really think that the Supreme Court of the United States knows anything about Jehovah's Witnesses? No. But you bring in a group that is friend of the court, and they bring them up to speed. And then they're like, okay, we know where you're coming from. We understand it. That's all. So it's and that's simplistic. So you want to go ahead and take it from there on amicus brief?
Well, there's two roads. One of them touches California, and you kind of made me swear that I would not talk bad about California, and I'm not talking bad about California. I'm not going there.
Good.
But I want to tell you about a case that involved the great state of California.
Mhm.
And that was in 1989, Jimmy Swaggart versus the state of California. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And that was my research. I was researching night and day and dwelling on it.
Mhm.
I haven't prayed, but because I've been working, it's so hot out here.
Mhm.
I haven't had time to be in prayer, and I know that's a sin.
Mhm.
But I wanted to be in prayer because I want to make sure that what I'm saying is correct. And maybe if the comment section can correct me, because this is all opinion based.
Correct.
But my opinion is this. It has nothing to do with immigration or ICE or the Kingdom Halls. But it's something bigger. And that is the hypocrisy of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. With this, and I've always said this, and I'm the only one of the XJW community that says this, that the political neutrality that the Jehovah's Witnesses have brought into the Christian debate is the biggest scam perpetrated on Christianity of all time. The Jehovah's Witnesses, it's my contention that their political neutrality is the biggest scam, the biggest lie, the biggest abomination, the biggest abortion of all time. And I'm going to start it off with the Jimmy Swaggart amicus brief.
So you're saying that this has more value and truth than the Jehovah's Witnesses stand on Christian neutrality.
Yes, and I don't say this lightly. That
Yeah,
the Jehovah's Witnesses teach that the Satan is the father of the lie.
correct.
To say that a Christian should be politically neutral borderlines a satanic demonic expression in my book, because everything is politics. Look, in 1989, in the amicus brief, when it was about money, and taxation on distribution of literature, because if you remember at that time, we were both in the Spanish together. We used to go out on service on Saturdays. Sometimes they would pair us up. And we used to give the Watch Around Wake for 25 cents, 50 cents, right? We were doing that before the amicus brief, before that case with Jimmy Swaggart. And the Jehovah's Witnesses, because of financial reasons, did the amicus brief. Now, they could say, well, no, it was for religious reasons. No, it's even worse for religious reasons. Because if you remember, if you could go back in time, Jimmy Swaggart went on national TV after he admitted committing adultery, porneia, whatever you want to call it. I have sinned. Remember that? So the Watchtower is over here doing a partnership, a financial partnership in the Supreme Court with a serial adulterer at that time who had been scandal for adultery. For example, if a Jehovah's Witness is going to go out to dinner with somebody and the elders go, why are you going out with that adulterer? But yet the Watchtower Bible and Tracts, that Jehovah's mouthpiece, is fighting on behalf of Jimmy Swaggart. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And then all of our lives, this was just the beginning. They've always been involved in the political debate of the day. They've always been in the great wars. If you go to jw.org right now, you pointed out a couple of days ago, look at the jw.org right now. They have their opinion on the Middle East. They don't even advocate for peace. They just have to put their 10 cents in on the middle war that the end of the world is coming. They do not advocate for peace. They do not advocate and say, you know what, there could be radiation fallout. Humans can suffer. People are not going to eat. People's water system is going to be... They could advocate for peace, like Jesus says, blessed are the peacemakers. They don't do that. All they do is they make this political statement about war and peace bringing the end times. That's all they do. They enter into the political debate like the cowards that they are, but they don't take a side. They triangulate. They want to hit everybody. They're like Bill Clinton in the 1992 campaign with Ross Perot and George H.W. Bush. They triangulate. They go, look at us. Look at them two fighting, not us. Instead of trying to bring peace. There's a lot of people trying to bring peace. These people are the biggest hypocrites of all time. In the immigration debate, they use illegal aliens in the congregation. They're called publishers. There's a lot of publishers in the Spanish. The Spanish, if the English were the Jehovah's Witnesses, That religion would be dead in the United States of America if it wasn't for the Spanish growth. We all know this. Now, what's going to happen? They have done it on a lot of illegal aliens, labor, publishers, pioneers. And they're going to go to the elders for comfort or some kind of help, some kind of letter or something to help them in their case. Do you think Watchtower is going to allow it? No. They're not going to get involved. They're going to say, we're politically neutral. Your immigration status, we will not get involved. We will not hurt Jehovah's organization. You know how cold-hearted that is? Listen, if a person, a publisher, has served Jehovah in the organization for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, didn't have his paperwork, he's contributed, he's worked in the volunteer
building kingdom halls, yeah.
And then I asked him for a letter. Jehovah won't even give him a letter. There won't be no letter. Now, the secretary has a letter, gives it to the presiding overseer, the Kobe. And all it says is the date of the baptism and that he's in what member of what congregation. And that's it. They don't say if he's of great repute, if he's of great reputation, is he a service to the society, to the organization, to the community at large? Nothing. These people are hypocrites. They took their labor, they counted them as members of the growth in the Spanish congregation and membership in the United States, but they will do nothing. They won't even write an article in favor of the hardworking immigrants. I mean, it's real sad. So that's why I said I did a lot of research on this. The Watchtower takes the hard work of people for their growth of their organization. But if their people are ever in need, financial, hospitalization, outside of blood, insurance, or immigration, Watchtower won't lift a finger, won't advocate for them.
Okay, so let me bring him. I'm going to go back to that.
So did I make my thing too wide,
Yes.
Gilbert?
No, because we're going to keep talking about that. So this is on that same website, thelegaldictionary.net, about amicus brief. We're not saying Watchtower needs to do an amicus brief for the illegal alien Jehovah's Witnesses when they get into trouble. No. We're not saying that. But you're trying to illustrate it. But here's the point. Here it's talking about in a real amicus brief. In such cases, a non-party that is likely to be affected by the higher court's decision may prepare and submit an amicus brief providing additional insight and broader view than what either party to the actual case is likely to provide the court. In many jurisdictions, the appellate and state Supreme Courts, such non-parties can submit amicus briefs without leave of the court, though the court can decide whether to consider or even read them. So what does that mean? Well, let's go back to your illustration. Jehovah's Witnesses are okay and put all of their legal effort and legal money to help Jimmy Swaggart, right? They want to help Jimmy Swaggart. So here's the point. Jehovah's Witnesses help this guy.
My Lord, I have sinned against you, my Lord. And I would ask that your precious...
So Jehovah's Witnesses help that guy. They get the legal department. They help a fellow friend who is part of Satan's organization here on earth. But that's the point. But we have a whole bunch of Jehovah's Witness Mexicans. So they're racist, right? They're Mexicans. Jehovah's Witness Mexicans are out building their kingdom halls, are out there giving free labor, right? Working in the kingdom halls, maintaining the kingdom halls. And then Donald Trump says, you know what? You need to go back to Mexico. And you need to use the app on this phone to self-deport, right? Oh, a picture of my girlfriend. So here's the thing. The Jehovah's Witness goes on the phone, self-deports, and he does it with the hope of being able to do things legally and come back to the United States. With this amicus brief, what you're saying is the Jehovah's Witnesses will not even write a letter saying, Don Juan Pedro Hernandez has been a member of our congregation since yada, 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 this date. He has worked with us in voluntary work and this and that, and he has offered tens of thousands of dollars in manual labor and expertise in the field of construction. And we are grateful. Our congregation is grateful for all of the work and labor that he has provided and money. And we think that he's an outstanding citizen, yada, yada, yada. And then that goes with him to the president, right? Through the app. So that way he can get back in line and maybe be reconsidered into coming back into this country, because Watchtower took the time and told the elders, go ahead, help the faithful brothers, our brothers who helped us. We're going to help them. But no, Watchtower helps Jimmy Swaggart on a tax evasion issue, but won't help. What is his name? Don Juan Pedro Hernandez, who's self-deporting into Mexico. So this is why this is so important, and no one's talking about this. Only 2 Mexican ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't see no white people talking about this, and they shouldn't have to. But we take this personal. This is personal, Jesse. Where Mexican Jehovah's Witnesses, where about 20%, 30% of the congregation is illegal, and you as an elder can't lift one finger to help your fellow brother while he self-deports, to make sure his paperwork is in order, but we can help Jimmy Swaggart? Go ahead.
Hey, Gilbert, that was an excellent rant.
Mm-hmm.
You would expect nothing more than from the president of the GG for the GB organization.
Right.
So I just wanted to get that out of the way. And you know what? You couldn't, I don't think Stephen Lett could have put that coherent thought in a podcast. So I just
But Shaq did. And he says, if a JW gets deported, Watchtower will just say the publisher got reassigned. I knew you were going to spit that out. I knew you were going to spit that out. I was going to tell you, don't drink it. Don't drink it.
Oh, man. The need's greater. Needs greater.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh. Pin that to the top.
Yeah. And so don't you see, every Mexican ex-Jehovah's Witness should be pissed off and say, what the? If you speak Spanish and you're a ex-Jehovah's Witness, you should be saying, what the?
Here's what it is. It's so powerful. It's bigger than immigration. It goes to the core of our Christian belief.
Yes.
Why? This is the reason why I left the Jehovah's Witness.
Mm-hmm.
When I got kicked out as an elder, they held a judicial committee. It was called it's not a judicial committee for an elder. It's called a qualifications committee.
Correct.
They did a one-night qualifications committee on me without informing the elders in my city, just in my congregation. And they took me out.
Was it for Pornea?
No, it was for my son was in high school wrestling.
Oh, okay.
I swear to God. My son was, and they even offered me.
What kind of wrestling?
Greco-Roman wrestling, high school wrestling. That's what I was removed for. And I've said it on your show, but they even backhandedly offered me to stay if I would have kicked my son out. My son was 15 years old at that time. I told them, fuck that shit. Quote unquote, I said that at the Kingdom Hall. Mm-hmm. Kind of shook up the elders a little bit. And Sergio Velasquez, the brother of the Judas Iscariot there that took me to the circuit overseer, Sergio Velasquez, here in Yuma, Central Congregation, Spanish, if anybody wants to call him up and ask him if it's true. He goes, no, Jesse, you can't be serious. And Danny told him, our friend Danny, who served as an elder with us, he goes, no, he's, back off. He's telling you the truth. And I go, I'm out of here, guys. But these people are so crooked, Gilbert, these people, the organization.
Go ahead.
That they tell everybody what they can and can't do. For example, when we were kids, anybody was going to go to a high school dance, anybody was going to go to a yard sale, anybody was going to buy furniture from a secondhand store, they always say, what does the society say? The society has something to say about everything under the planet. Any religious organization has a holiday, the Watchtower opens its big fat mouth. They tell you about what you can do, what you can do, what is pagan. All those communists that come on your chat section, they call us Constantine, and they say that all this and that, you got to look at that. There's no Jesus. That's what the Jehovah's Witnesses are like. They tell everybody about their research and what you can and can't do. And when it comes to the great political debate of the day, of where on immigration, the Watchtower is silent. These people are hypocrites. They don't take a side. There's churches out there that are doing everything they can. They're trying to establish a good foundation for them to come back or stay. Do something. There's religious Christian organizations today who are fighting ICE or talking to the Department of Justice through the legal means. Or maybe they're setting up and saying, you know what, counseling them. Christian counsel. What does the Bible say about this? Something. There's Christian organizations out there today that are out in the field because these people are crying. They're distraught. The Jehovah says nothing. After they took their volunteer money, after they took their donations, after they called them hermano for 20 to 30 years. If your brother was going to get taken away, don't you at least have a party for them? Don't you at least have a something with them? And that's what I'm saying. The Jehovah's Witnesses are so disgusting. They have something to say about everything under the sun, but on the biggest political question of the day, immigration, they fall silent.
Correct. And the video right there about the wrestling was because your son did that in high school, and that was like in the circuit overseer's viewpoint, the worst of the worst. Yeah.
Well, when he took me to the side,
yeah,
he told me that I was involved in the worst of the worst, and he used the word Greco-Roman, and I felt a negativity. I felt like an absence of the Holy Spirit when he told me that, and I knew I was behind enemy lines. I knew that Jehovah's was a black organization, a spiritless organization, because he said a Greco-Roman. I go, what is he implying here? That my son is gay? What is he implying? That it's a gay sport? And so what if it is gay? It's still a sport. It has nothing to do with sex. These people are perverted.
They're perverted. Yeah. And so, you brought out another good point about how sick and disgusting these Jehovah's Witnesses are, because after
the leadership.
Yeah. Because the title says Jehovah needs to take a stand regarding ICE raids at the Kingdom Hall. It's true, because where is Jehovah? What stand is he taking? If it was me, right, and I'm GG for GB, I have my office in headquarters, and I'm a member of the governing body. I know that a big percentage, probably in double digits, of the Jehovah's Witnesses that are attending the meetings in the United States have legal issues. A big number, close to 10%. So here's what I would do. I would open up an office. That is now working directly with ICE and is working directly with the State Department or anybody else. And then all of the ones and then I would be building files. So as a church leader, I would be saying, do not go back to Mexico. Come over here first, register. We're going to get all of your paperwork. We're going to put you through the process, and then we're going to get you through the self-deportation app. And then I would be working, and then the government is going to say, oh, you recognize Caesar and the things of Caesar and the things of God, right? Donald Trump will say that. But Watchtower doesn't do that. Watchtower isn't working with Caesar. If they really wanted to work with Caesar, they know that a lot of these Mexicans and other than OTMs, other than Mexicans, need to go back. But and I know that Donald Trump wants a lot of these Mexicans to come back legally.
And you know what, Gilbert?
So I would be taking advantage of it as a religious leader, making sure I could be playing both sides. Go ahead.
And they're religious hypocrites because they say that they have money. They have money for hurricane disaster relief. Well, this is a disaster. God damn it! This is a disaster. If you're getting deported as a human being, your mom or dad, that's a disaster. It's a disaster. Now, Watchtower, as a religious organization, as a 501c3, they have in place different Bethels. They have different headquarters. You don't think that New York could say, okay, in Los Angeles, 320 brothers are going to get deported. Let's call Mexico Bethel. Is there a department to receive them? Is there a department where they could be safe? What can we do financially? They could do something. Let's take their names. This brother, Jose, let's say Jose Ramos or whatever. Let's say he was a drunk and he used to beat his wife. 30 years ago, became a Jehovah's Witness, and now has raised a family and everything. Why can't Watchtower write that down in a religious setting and have a recorded history with their lawyers of what Ramos did, paid his taxes and did everything? He goes, you have to go back. You're going to go to Bethel, Mexico. There's a record of what you did in the United States. But they don't do nothing to help nobody. They don't help America, and they don't help Mexico.
And they help Mexico. And to even add on to this, and in that brief, right, that amicus brief that they're preparing, you know, they can also have the list of references, and they can have like the list of 5, 6 elders, ministerial servants, circuit overseers that have work or construction, right, RBC, and all of these men can actually sign. So not only are you self-deporting as a Jehovah's Witness, but there's a list of 5, 6, 7 brothers, quote unquote, that have signed their name saying that you are a reformed person.
Hold on. Let me address that issue.
Yeah.
You got to understand that they're a quasi-communist Marxist organization. They have no freedom. Correct. No brother in any city, it doesn't matter if you're in Dallas, Seattle, no Jehovah's Witness has a right to write a letter in the name of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Correct.
You could give your life in a hospital liaison committee. You could sacrifice your kid with no blood. Doesn't matter. You have no right to write a letter in the name of Watchtower. That's one thing that. So what I'm saying is, when they have an immigration letter, their lawyers, they're satanic lawyers, write one paragraph, and that's all you're allowed. The Kobe who loves that brother can't write a letter. The secretary cannot write a letter. Nobody is allowed freedom to write a letter. They say, this brother is an outstanding member of the American citizenry.
That's what I mean.
He is an asset to our, he is a welder. He is a fabricator. He is a father, a grandfather. No, Jehovah does not allow freedom of expression in their ranks. They get a 1 paragraph page that is made by some artificial intelligent lawyer up in Watchtower.
Who's a white boy. Yeah. A white boy
or a white woman, liberal lawyer, and that's all. The Kobe can't write nothing.
And
so
all
there's
you
no
Mexican
record.
Jehovah's Witnesses are screwed. Go ahead.
And do you remember in the Bible it talks about fruit of repentance? As Christians, this is proof that there's a God, because God allows us to have fruit of repentance. Jehovah doesn't. There is no record of your fruit. You're going to be shipped off, and everybody's going to forget. But God will remember. God will remember. And all we're pleading is with the Watchtower. Hey, do something for these people.
Take a stand. Yeah. And you know what? We channeled all of this energy, and a legal immigrant came in and he says, hola, hermanos. Thank you for coming. But yeah, that's the point. So there's so much that Jehovah can do in behalf of the illegal immigrants.
Gilbert, think about it. Let's say a family member of yours is going to get deported in your congregation, and the Watchtower has a deportation committee where with Mexico, with El Salvador, with Guatemala, with all the countries, with Canada, with everybody, Haiti, and they have the Bethel has your name, and you're going to register with them, and it's called a residente forastero. So there's biblical precedence for this.
Yes.
And you're a resident alien, and you're going to be shipped back. But we want a historical record of what your good deeds were in this country that we could present and show mercy at the court.
Yeah, that was the whole point about the amicus brief, that they would do it for Jimmy Swaggart, but they won't do it for their own brothers. And here's the point. And in the self-deportation app that Donald Trump has given, right, that they've changed, you're absolutely right. What the hell are the Gilead graduates doing in Guatemala, in Peru, and Mexico? You're absolutely right. All of those Gilead graduates should be working with the State Department and saying, not only do these Jehovah's Witnesses obey the law and self-deport, but now they've come back to their home country, and now they are good members of the local congregation in, Hualitepec, Mexico. And hold on. And so now you have not only a dossier on this brother on the American side, but you now have a dossier on this brother when he's self-deported and that he's doing great in his hometown. So he would be a perfect candidate for re-entry into the United States, and that's what the government is trying to do.
And they call themselves hermanos and hermanas, brothers and sisters. They're not brothers and sisters.
They're not.
You know, if you go to social media, you'll see all these beautiful women in beautiful dresses, and Jehovah's Witness sisters. And it's provocative. The Jehovah's Witness is a dating scene. It's no longer a religion. You see all these women and they're hugging and they say sisters now, sisters forever. That's a bunch of bullshit. They're not sisters now. So if they were really sisters, they would put up a place where when grandma gets deported,
Correct.
she checks in with the Jehovah's Witness Bethel in Mexico City. She has something to help.
That's what I'm saying. And there's a record of it. And then that with that record, she could probably bring back into this country because she's working with Caesar. That's what Donald Trump is saying. We're going to get self-deport you. But if they have all their paperwork on the other side as well, then they can come back. But Watchtower is doing nothing on the American side and not with Caesar and not doing anything on the other side.
And they're uniquely antichrist because Jesus says, when I was in jail, you didn't visit me. When I was hungry, you gave me nothing. When I was thirsty, you gave me nothing. When I was deported, you weren't there for me. Let's say you hit the streets of Tijuana. Maybe the Red Cross will have something for you. Maybe Islam will have something for you. Maybe the cartels will have something for you. But Jehovah won't have nothing for you. Gilbert, that is not humanly possible for a Christian organization. It is not humanly possible. We should be at the vanguard of helping our brothers who are getting deported. And the Jehovah's Witnesses have failed miserably at that. They have it in their power. They have financial means to establish a committee of reparations, a repatriation into your nation. Repatriation. But they don't.
And we can have it on both sides. Absolutely. And we can have a department in every state, every state in the union. The Jehovah's Witnesses could have like a local congregation, a go-to congregation where you're going to help the brothers and sisters self-deport with all the proper documentation that they're going to need, that Watchtower is going to make sure they have. And then they're going to have a contact person on the other side. So like in the movie Casablanca, when they have a dossier. Oh, are my eyes really green? You know, yeah, they have a dossier on everybody. Watchtower, we already know, likes to have dossier on people. So you mean to tell me you can't do that for your brothers, but you could do it for Jimmy Swaggart? But all of the Mexicans that help build your kingdom halls and help maintain your properties, Jehovah's going to throw them under the bus.
Well, you know what? In the Pink Floyd has a song, you're not even worth a quick grin, not even worth a laugh. You're not even worth a laugh. That's the point. Jesus says, you didn't help your brothers. Like, what do you mean? We have the disaster relief fund. What about this immigration disaster we're having right now? Where were you? The Red Cross was there. The Red Crescent was there. Catholic Charities are there. But no Jehovah's representation? I mean, this hurts me. And this is why I started the show, that I should have been in prayer. I was so busy working, but this cuts me at my heart because I worked with illegal aliens as a Jehovah's Witness. I worked with them. I saw them with my own eyes. And I cried. I cried tears with friends that were deported. And I cry and I cry. And I should have been in prayer. And this is an ungodly organization. They have the financial means to be a beacon. Jesus says, shine your light. What the fuck, Watchtower? Use your money for humanity. And excuse my French, but goddamn, use your money or anything. You always said that money was a protection. You always said that it was a protection. How do you describe money? Wealth is a protection against the elements. Well, this is what money is for. Why is Watchtower receiving billions of dollars if not for the publishers who are in a state of deportation, repatriation? I mean, this is a crime, an unchristian.
So that's what Chad is saying. They only care about Watchtower. They're a bunch of hypocrites. They have all of this money, and when they can use a small percentage of the money
to start a program
on both sides, and then they will be in good graces on both sides of on both countries. Both countries, Mexico and the United States, would look favorably upon the Jehovah's Witnesses for their cooperation in this matter. So Jesse says a bad word. So Jesse, I wanted to bring this up. It may sound like we're going off subject, but it really has to do with the same. And I'm going to tell you why. This Democrat senator makes an incredibly bizarre claim after being confronted with news of record low border crossings under the Trump administration. So let's watch the video.
Border crossings are at a record low. Do you give the Trump administration some credit for that? And are you, when you look at those figures, do you think things are moving in the right direction, at least in that regard, Senator?
No, I don't give them credit for that, because border crossings are low because they're violating the law every day.
You know, border crossing.
Wow. So that was powerful. So Donald Trump is breaking the law, but the people, this guy is demented. He's a senator, but here's the thing. He's filled with so much hate. He's filled with so much hate that he thinks that Donald Trump is the one breaking the law, but people coming into this country illegally are not.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
So he's afraid because he's losing his popularity, and he might even lose his seat in Congress. And then he turns angry, and now he's hateful. There's absolutely, his hate has blinded him. And that's the connection I'm making with Donald, with Watchtower. Watchtower and a lot of our friends have filled their hearts with so much hate that when the opportunity comes to help their members, they won't lift a finger. They're so engrossed in their anger and hate that they can't say, well, we're going to make lemonade out of these lemons. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's the problem right there. This is the essence of the problem. The Americans have a saying, and it's water seeks its own level. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, Donald Trump has to do what Donald Trump has to do. He has to follow the law, or we have no country. Mm-hmm. And in every war, in every battle, there's collateral damage, and that's what we're seeing in the Hispanic community. But Watchtower has a chance to show their Christianity. It has a chance to show that they're God's organization. They could put in place a place for repatriation and use their God-given wealth that they have in America for the good of humanity, and maybe win a goddamn Nobel Peace Prize. And show people that you are loved. You are loved. Yes, you're a residente forastero. How do you say that in English?
Foreign resident?
A foreign resident. But we're going to repatriate you in love. In love. This is what we're Christians. We're Christians, my God, we're Christians. And I can't believe how the Watchtower, the hypocrisy of Watchtower. Well, they'll go to bed with Jimmy Swaggart in the amicus brief, but they won't help their publishers who are suffering. And I know I'm sounding like a hysterical woman. Yeah. But it hurts. It hurt. This crushes, because Joe Biden let in 20 million people. This is crushing that illegal action is crushing the Hispanic community. It is crushing. Gilbert, people are talking about suicide. People are talking about death. People are talking. This is end time civilization for a lot of Hispanics. It's real sad. And the Watchtower could be a beacon of light and say, you know what? The sun will come up tomorrow. We're going to set up a place where we're going to do the things to Caesar, for Caesar, and the things to God, to God. The things of Caesar are what Donald Trump is doing. He has every right to follow the constitutional mandate to protect the borders. We, as Christians organizations, are going to do everything financially to repatriate our brothers and sisters. And my God, they're not doing nothing. I'm embarrassed of the Jehovah's Witness. I'm embarrassed of you, Watchtower, Stephen Lett. You had a chance to shine your light, and two beaners in Arizona have to tell you how to do it.
Yeah. And Jesse, you're the one that shared this with me, and it had to do with that he's a sitting senator of the United States, a Democrat of Connecticut, and he's the one. So he goes and he says, border crossings are a record low. Do you give the Trump administration some credit? No, I don't give them credit, because border crossings are low because they're violating the law every day. So I told you, there's a mental sickness that's happening. You got to look at the bigger picture instead of arguing over, because we know this. He's wrong. He's blaming the president for other people's illegal activity. There's a spirit, and I think Second Thessalonians talks about it, is the man of lawlessness. There's a spirit of lawlessness that is permeating our country, our world. We see it everywhere. And we're blaming everybody for wrongdoings when, we should be blaming the people who are committing the wrongdoing itself. So, but the point I'm trying to say is that this is Watchtower. Watchtower has this same spirit. They are a spirit of lawlessness. Instead of using the current situation to cooperate with Caesar, they choose to fight him, and not only or ignore like nothing's like see no evil, hear no evil. But it is interesting that when the one time they had a chance to work with the government and they rushed to work with the federal government, Caesar, it was because they were forcing everybody to get the jabby yabby.
Gilbert.
So what I'm saying is that Watchtower can't understand anything that we're talking about here. The Jehovah's Witnesses can't understand because they filled their heart with so much hate that they can't see the great opportunity that was presented before them.
This is the beautiful thing about being an American. This is why I love America, and this has to be preached. In America, it's closer to being Christian America. Being an American citizen, you are closer to God than any Jehovah's Witness could ever be. Because in America, we believe that I am king. You are king, the individual. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever, singular, shall exercise faith in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. All men are created equal, endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. We are the individual, we the people. Being an American citizen brings you closer to God, in my belief, than being a member of any country in the United. That's why I say I don't care about Iran. I don't care about Russia. I don't care about Mexico. I only care about the United States. We won, you lost. We're the best. Just like Homer Simpson, we're the best. We the people, and we teach that. But we don't flaunt that everywhere. We teach that to people. You could make Mexico great. You can make the individual great if you elevate the individual. But Watchtower doesn't do that. They protect the organization. The organization is nothing without the hermano, without the hermana. Jesus gave his life for the hermana, not for the organization.
That's right.
Being an American, you understand that. That's why Pledge of Allegiance is so important. It brings you closer to God, not farther to God. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jehovah can't understand that point because all it cares about is Watchtower and its derivatives, its money. No, that's not why Jesus died. Jesus died for you and I. That grandma who's getting deported, who has nothing. That's who Jesus died for. Not for Watchtower. Watchtower has its billions, not for some kind. It has it for grandma. Think about it. Wealth, the wealth of nations.
Yeah.
What was the wealth of Jesus Christ? His blood. Where did he spend his wealth, if not on Calvary? In the cross.
Yeah.
He spent his wealth for the individual human being. That's what being an American means, the individual, you and I. And that's the greatness of America. Now our brothers and sisters are getting shipped off. It doesn't matter. We're Christians. We're Christ-like. We have to spend our wealth, our time, our energy, our voices in giving comfort to our brothers and sisters who are in their desperation. I worked with a guy, Gilbert. How long ago did I work with Mark Dienda?
40 years ago?
Okay. We were kids, and this guy comes into our congregation. We're electricians. I can't even remember his name, but I loved him. He was my friend. He was out of jail. He became a Jehovah's Witness, and his kids loved him. And he was kind of like gangster, cholo. And he worked with us about a year. So this is before amnesty. This is about 86. And we were out there sweating and working. And he built his house. He had children. and he was going to get deported, but his case was in because he had, I guess, domestic violence. But he became a Jehovah's Witness, and he changed his life. And I saw it with my own eyes. He became a Christian man, a loving man who spent his days in prayer. And I saw his children hugging me, and I got to love him. I got to love him like a brother. And Mark Deanda loved him. And I remember we were at dinner a couple of weekends before he was going to get deported. The deportation order was in. And I'm sitting there with Mark, and I think me and him were having beers. I was underage, and Mark was drinking, and I was drinking. And we were both almost crying. And I go, Mark, is there anything that we can do? And he goes, no, Jesse, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do, mijo. There's nothing we could do. All we could do is follow the law. And it hurt us. And that's why I'm saying the people that are getting deported, I want to cry. I want to pray. In a way, my life is ending when I see it. But the law has to remain. There's nothing we could do. The law has to be. But Watchtower has an opportunity to shine its light and receive the repatriation of the citizens. It doesn't mean life is over. It could be a new chapter in life. But a Watchtower does not shine its Christian light to the world. It just shuts up. It shuts up. When it's convenient for them to open their pie hole, they open up. But now that brothers are in need, it doesn't say anything. Right now is the time to be comfort. Don't they say that they're the comfort against the wind? Remember, they have Jesus hold. Right now, a lot of people need comforting. They could say, you know what? We're the sheep. We're the sheep. We're like Jesus. We're going to comfort you, brother, sister. We set up in different cities on the border. Tijuana, El Paso, all the border cities. We've set up a committee to repatriate you, to make sure the cartels don't take over your children, to make sure that you have somewhere to sleep and eat. But nothing like that. Nothing like that. Here is a chance to show your humanity. What I'm saying is the Catholics probably have that. The Methodists probably have that. We as Jehovah's Witnesses don't have anything. Nothing. We're sick. We're a sick people.
Yeah. Well, when you started down your rant, sorry about that, Jesse.
Sorry, Gilbert. I'm sorry.
I played that little clip. I was like, but then you finally took off. Yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to throw in that crazy jab. Because you started off with we Americans are better than everybody else thing. So
well, we are.
Yeah. so I threw in that thing. But no, you finished very well. And that was the whole thing. That's Jehovah.
Let me tell you something.
The title says Jehovah needs to take a stand regarding ICE raids in the Kingdom Hall, and that's all we're saying. You missed the opportunity.
There's 11 people. There's 11 people on the river. There's 11 people on a river, a raging river, and the paddle boat capsizes. There's 10 people on the boat, one person on the riverbank. Who is in the best position? The 10 people in the water or the one person on the riverbank?
The riverbank, maybe? Yeah?
The riverbank. You're a financial guru. All the money is fiat money.
Yeah.
But of all the fiat money, it's all fake that you preach. Which is the one that you want? There's the Iranian fiat money. There's British fiat money. But we all want the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
It's still fiat money. It's still paper currency. So even in the whole world, all the currencies are fake. The American is still the best. That guy in the riverbank is still the best. What I'm saying, though, is that there's a responsibility of being an American. There's a responsibility of being a Christian, understanding the circumstances and acting for the better of humanity. Yes, we're going to follow the law. Yes, my God, we're going to be faithful to the law. But we can make lemon out of lemonades. We could have a repatriation. We could do something. We're Christians. We're Americans. We build things. Mm-hmm. We build empires. We went to the moon, after all, allegedly. Why can't we build a reparation committee in all the Spanish nations and all the nations? We can do it, but we value the money, and the love of money is the root of all evil. Watchtower loves their money more than they love the hermanos. Right now, if the Watchtower has $1 billion in the bank, that $1 billion could have been spent to save or repatriate its brothers. That's what the money is stored for a moment of need. What did that guy, the Jew in Auschwitz. What was his name? Schindler. What did Schindler say? I could have sold this and I could have saved somebody. He did the best he could. Watchtower could use its billions to help their brothers in a moment of need.
And how many Jehovah's Witnesses would line up instead of regular pioneering, standing on a stupid street corner? How many Jehovah's Witnesses would line up to help illegal aliens
repatriate,
to get their paperwork in order, to be able to self-deport and put themselves back in line for reentry?
Gilbert, and you know what? You and I were businessmen. We were in business together. Did you know that the Jehovah's Witnesses, they're stupid business people too. They can make a profit, a killing. If they were to set up an office of they would be like in biblical times where Moses said, no, enough. You know what the people would give? Watchtower's coffers would be full to the top. If they were to set up a department of repatriation, everybody would help. My God, I think I would even help. If Watchtower had a department, and I'm an apostate, I'm a super apostate, but I would help out too. I'd go out and work in the kitchens. I would do anything I could to help out. And if the Catholics were doing it, I would help out the Catholics.
Wow. So Born JW says, Watchtower loves money more than the hermanos. I thought we're the. So he quoted you. So that should probably be the title. Watchtower loves money more than the hermanos. All of the hermanos that build their
Gilbert, that's very powerful, because you got to remember, I always told you since we were babies, my name is Jesus. And my mom told me that Jesus is God. My mom told me, she hugged me. And I told my mom, why? Why do you believe? And she goes, I believe too, mijo. And she told me she believed Jesus is God. And I know Jesus is God because my mom told me. She would have already come in my sleep, in my dreams, if it wasn't true. And Jesus says that no one has greater love for their brother than one who is willing to give their life. If you're not willing to give your life, how are you going to give your money? You know, and Watchtower, they use this word hermanos. Words mean things. Brothers help brothers in the time of need. Watchtower should be at the vanguard of teaching Christian behavior in a time of great need. They're hypocrites. That's what the essence of that means. Watchtower loves money more than hermanos. The love of money is the root of all evil.
I think that's in John, right? First to John or something like that.
And I'm sorry I did all this research tonight. I know I went against the basic tenets of the Watchtower, of the GG for GB channel, and I started doing all this research. But you know what? You want to spend a few minutes on research? I know you and I use it as a joke. But you want to tell your comment section why we always make fun of research? Remember what I told you about how people became Jehovah's Witnesses? How did mom and dad become Jehovah's Witnesses? Dad started doing research. Look what the research got him. He was able to escape, but too late. They got mom and they got you and I and all the babies. They got all the babies. You have to use instinct. You have to have human discernment, instinct, to act upon the research. You can't worship the research. Research is what got us into the JW cult to begin with.
Did I say First to John? I said it's First to Timothy. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. They have erred from the faith. And the faith is to take, like it says right there, to take care of the hermanos. The faith is to take care of the brothers. But they love the money so much that the hermanos are being deported, and Watchtower is not lifting a finger.
Gilbert, let me ask you a question.
Brief, to sum it all up. Go ahead.
Nobody knows this about you, but I'm going to say something about you. That you're a man of charity. You love charity. And I seen you. Sometimes, like when I was in the Jehovah's Witness, I would pay $2,000 or $3,000. I would pay that because I'm a businessman, and we would pay the rent. And I would tell my wife, cut a check, pay the rent. because we were in a Spanish Mexican congregation.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was contributing, so we had to pay the goddamn bills. So we write a check, 2,000, 3,000. Okay, boom. But I wouldn't write the 20, and I would look at you and you go, Jesse, I'm gonna send $20 here. Jesse, I'm gonna send $20. You send $20 everywhere. Mm-hmm. So I said, oh, Gilbert is a man of charity, but Gilbert doesn't do big things, but he gives a lot to a lot of people, and you get no recognition. Nobody knows that about you, mm-hmm. But that's where your heart is. I know it because I'm your brother, but nobody else knows that about you. But my point is this: if the Watchtower, do you think us apostates, if the Watchtower set up a committee to help a repatriation, do you think that there would be us apostates even helping? Do you think?
Everybody would jump on that bandwagon. It's a great bandwagon to jump on. And speaking of donations, remember the story about the 50 cents that I gave?
No.
The 50 cents when I was with St. Peter, I was trying to get into heaven.
Oh, you gotta forgive me. What happened? Oh, give him 50 cents. Don't go back there. Hey, so this is the joke that
go ahead.
Gilbert dies and he goes to heaven, and St. Peter says, the guy helping St. Peter says, the brother helping St. Peter goes, I'm sorry, Gilbert, I can't find you in the book of life. Mm-hmm. You have to think about it. You have to have done something good in your life. And Gilbert, being the cheap bastard that he is, mm-hmm. never did anything. But he remembered one day outside of the coffee shop, mm-hmm. Brownies, there was a street beggar begging, and you gave him a 50-cent piece.
Mm-hmm. No, 2 quarters. I gave him 2 quarters.
2 quarters to be correct. Mm-hmm. And so the brother runs to St. Peter, goes, St. Peter, don't send Gilbert to hell. Don't send Gilbert to hell. Mm-hmm. We found in the book of life, we TiVoed it, and it seems like Gilbert, back in 1989, uh-huh. during the research days of Amicus mm-hmm. Brief, Jimmy Swaggart, Watchtower, mm-hmm. Gilbert was feeling good and groovy, and he gave 50 cents to a street beggar. What mm-hmm. do we do? And St. Peter thought it over and over and over, and he goes, you know what? Give him back his 50 cents and tell him to go to hell.
His 2 bits.
Cold-hearted.
His 2 bits. Yeah. Give him back his 2 bits and tell him to go to hell.
Wow. That is cold-hearted.
So I'm back here with you guys fighting the good fight with Watchtower. So, but you're absolutely right on that point. Let's just go back to that one point. That's the one. How could you as an apostate not join forces with Watchtower in helping the illegal aliens self-deport with a file, right? And on the receiving end, get them back with another file, actively working in their congregation to help them repatriate, to come back into the United States to be with their family if that's so what they wish.
It is the importance of an American. It is an importance of a Christian to have self-worth. Imagine Judas Iscariot. What self-worth did he have at the end? He had no self-worth. Mm-hmm. And so the only thing left for him was to commit suicide. Mm-hmm. A man has to have worth. He has to have worth. If you're being kicked out of the country that you love in, you have to feel the lowest you've ever felt. And as a Christians, we're here to bring comfort. It is the responsibility of Watchtower as a Christian organization, one who brings on the name of Christ, to have something in place to repatriate its many illegal aliens. Listen, this is real important. In the English congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, all the English people say, the Jehovah's Witnesses are going to go down. The Jehovah's Witnesses are dying. They're dying. And you and I were always saying, no, they're not. No, they're not. Because the growth is in the Spanish congregation. Imagine how many illegal aliens are in the Spanish congregation. As they get removed from the United States, there's nothing in place to comfort these people. Because these are good people. I'm not talking about the elders and the ministerial servants and the pioneers. I'm talking about the grandmas, the mothers, and the children. This is where our humanity has to kick in. As Christians, we should have something in place to receive our fellow brothers in our lands. It's almost biblical. A lot of historians think that the story of Sodom and Gomorrah is not a sexual story like a lot of people think.
It's not.
A lot of people think that it is a hospitable story of lack of hospitality toward foreign people visiting. Now, I don't know. I didn't live back then, 2006, 700 years ago. I didn't live back then. We don't know. But a lot of historians believe that maybe it was a question of hospitality, of treating people bad. And Sodom was bad for that. And then they used the sexual means for it. So there's a lot of debate. But it brings up the question of hospitality. What are we doing as Christians? We were always moved to be hospitable people. Look at the little drummer boy. I always tell you about the Christmas story of the little drummer boy. Jesus comes to earth. And where does Jesus come if he's not a resident alien? He comes, he has nowhere to go, no hotel, no inn, and he's born. The King of Kings, Lord of Lords is born where it's a basket case of diseases. There's cows. With cows there's a bunch of poo-poo. Jesus was born in a shit house. He was born in the most loathsome conditions, and the mother of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph are right there. And the shepherds come in, and their clothes are dirty, and they want to be with the baby. And the little drummer boy, he's the most hospitable person. It's a story of hospitality. He sees these kings laying frankincense and gold and myrrh, and he says, I have nothing. I have nothing to lay before a king. I shall pay my drum for him. Parum-pa-pum-pum. It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story of the human greatness, the story of us Christians at our foundation. At the birth of Jesus Christ, we were a hospitable people. And let that not leave the earth is what I'm saying. I'm calling on Watchtower. I know I'm an apostate, but I'm calling on Watchtower. My God, do something right if you can. Help. Set up a committee to repatriate our brothers and sisters. That was it. Are you there, Gilbert?
Yeah. So let's see if I'll add this share screen. First to Peter 4. This is what you're saying to Watchtower. And above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man hath received a gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. If you were able to write an amicus brief for Jimmy Swaggart to protect him from tax evasion as a religion for selling books, you mean to tell me in a day where ICE is raiding Kingdom Halls and illegal aliens are going to be self-deporting, that you can't show hospitality and set up a system where people can self-deport with an amicus brief that we outlined, right? With people, with elders and other people testifying to your good behavior and what you contributed to society in the city that you the illegal dwelled in, and then have a place be hospitable as they return to their homeland, and then show that you're cooperating with the state, with Caesar. This is laid out in a silver platter. What you're saying is that Watchtower on a silver platter has been given the opportunity to show that they could be Christians. For crying out loud. This is a no-brainer. That you even went as far as to say that I would abandon my apostasy and join the Jehovah's Witnesses in helping out the illegals.
I would send my tax money. I would send my contributions to Jehovah's Witnesses if they had a place where I could donate for a repatriation.
Yeah.
I'd walk to the Kingdom Hall and put a check.
Mm-hmm.
If this is for grandma who's getting deported, I want to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or I would have. Yeah. This is crazy. That's all we're saying. All we are saying is, no, I'm just kidding.
All we're saying is give charity a chance. Watchtower.
Give charity a chance.
You know what? But this is why I told you that Jesus is God. I always told you Jesus is God. The separation of Jesus Christ is hell. When we see a nation in Western civilization leave Jesus Christ, nothing good comes out of it. Mm-hmm. Hate and desperation. Like, do you think those people burning LA, burning and protesting, do you think they were on church on Sunday?
Mm-mm. No.
Do you think those were Christian men and women burning LA? Or during the Black Lives Matter? Do you think those were Christian people burning the city? That's what happens. Same thing with Watchtower. They're in a state of hell because they've abandoned the divinity of Jesus Christ. They can't think logically. They don't have no insight. They're still on the Iran war. If you go to jw.org right now, they're still on the Iran. I mean, they're 2 days late, $2 short. God's organization is late to the game on everything. In every great battle of the 20th and 21st century, Watchtower is 2 days late, $2 short. That does not give evidence of a benevolent creator. Jesus says to shine your light. Christians shine their light. Watchtower doesn't. And you know what? Another thing is that these men who are in leadership position didn't have to build the organization. So they're fumbling about. They're roving about. They're not movers and shakers. They're not great thinkers. They're low IQ religious people. What you just laid out eloquently is that they could set up committees in different border towns to show their light, to show their love, and so that they can answer on Resurrection Day, on the Day of Judgment. Jesus, this is what we did. What? We spend our fortune to help our brothers and sisters. They don't do that. They can't think that.
So I'll give you an example. If Watchtower says, you know what, Gilbert, you were voted in, we're going to bring you in to see what you can do. The first person I would call is Tom Holman. Do you think Tom Holman would talk to me if I have a phone number with Watchtower? Says, Mr. Holman, he's the director of ICE. I'd like to talk to you, 10 minutes, and I'd like to set up what we think is a program that's going to help you reach your targeted numbers, and it's going to be beneficial to both of us. And it's going to help you accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish. You don't think Tom Holman is going to say, well, this church, Jehovah's Witnesses, I'll give them 10 minutes. Well, what do they want to do? And of course they would.
And then I, as the governing body helper, I would call the committees in Mexico, and I would call the committees in Yuma, Phoenix, Texas, all on the border. It says we're going to have landing sites and we're going to have repatriation sites.
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses, we're going to put up the jw.org flag. Mm-hmm. The brothers can go straight there. They're going to be given a package. They're going to be a hospitable house. They're going to ask them, do you have a house to sleep with tonight? No, you will not be homeless. There will be a Jehovah's Witness who will take you in while we get you back to your city.
Yeah, we'll get you a file, and that file is presented with your self-deportation, and then the elders in the receiving country are going to help you set up another file, so that way if you wish to come back, that you're going to be able to get back into line, because Donald Trump has already said that they need people to come back in legally.
They're right, legally.
So why would they do that? They will give you the benefit if all of your paperwork is in order. And as a religious institution, I would be jumping all over that.
Gilbert,
I would be the hero. And then I would live a life of luxury, because I would be flying all over the country, living a life of poverty, and helping everybody out. I go to Rio, but that's another story.
And in the world of research and instinct, I'm going to answer your question why they can't do it. If it was Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, Karl Marx, Barack Obama, or Joe Biden, Watchtower would be the first in line to have sex with.
Yeah.
But because it's Donald Trump, Jehovah has DJT.
Yes.
Jehovah has
Trump derangement syndrome.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
They hate Donald Trump. They can't help out.
Yeah, they hate Donald Trump so much that the golden opportunity that's there, and Watchtower wouldn't want me to do it, because there's no need to make money on it. But even if this is a cash cow, this is a no-brainer as a religious institution, an evil one like Dr. Evil. The amount of money that Watchtower is leaving on the table here is
Gilbert.
But they hate Donald Trump so much that they can't even do the right thing.
The right thing. Look at Born JW's first comment right there. Mm-hmm. She has 3. Born JW. Above it.
They have
Ramaphosa
to pay for. Sorry.
Therein lies the answer. Mm-hmm. Judas Iscariot had a way to do with the 30 pieces. He could take it or not. He chose to take it, and in his perceived wealth, he received condemnation and death and suicide. Watchtower, what Born JW, they have Ramapo to pay for. In choosing Ramapo over the human publisher,
Mhm.
they have chosen their epitaph. They have put money before humanity.
Mhm.
And therein lies the future of what that is the epitaph of the Watchtower Bible and Tract.
Mhm.
They love money more than the hermanos.
Yeah, that's the problem. And to go back, Jesse, on a silver platter, they have the opportunity to show their Christian faith, but their hatred. That's why I showed that clip of Yoda. They have so much hate that they're blinded to the opportunity that's before them.
Yeah. That's sad, huh? It's sad.
Yeah.
I almost want to cry. It's just because it's a disservice to humanity.
Yeah, it's a disservice to the country. It's just a disservice to all of the other countries. It's just there's so much good that can come out of it.
And we laid out the legal case that Watchtower is a hypocrite. We started this by saying that the political neutrality is a blaspheme of blasphemes. Never have the Christians been politically neutral. Even Jesus on the question of taxation gave a marvelous answer. He didn't avoid it. He wasn't neutral. He took a stand. He says, give the things to God, and Caesar to Caesar. Jesus did not avoid political questions of the day. He just didn't have the answer you wanted to hear. But Jesus didn't avoid the tough questions. Watchtower doesn't want to. And therein lies the curse of Watchtower. They're a cursed people. Because when tough political questions come up, Watchtower has no answer. They're a cursed people, a low IQ religion for a dumbed down world.
Wow. I didn't think it was going to go on this long. 1 hour, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
No, I know because
And
I thought it was going to go on 3 hours because it's just so much, you know.
And then she showed up, the Green Ring channel. Let Love Find You. She'll be a millionaire pretty soon, so we're gonna have to be on her good graces. She's a big, huge entrepreneur. So I'll tell you about it later, but definitely want to be friends with her. Jesse's Hooter. Oh yeah, your rooster went to bed.
Yeah. You know what? Yesterday, I got a retarded rooster. Guess what time it started crowing?
About 10 o'clock in the morning.
12:30. So I don't know. 12:30 in the morning. Yesterday, Sunday morning. I don't know if like there's marijuana in the air or
so if your
the rooster's getting high, but
your rooster is smoking weed.
It's retarded or getting a buzz like contact buzz.
Or maybe he's on a welfare check, like Rush Limbaugh would say, because Rush Limbaugh would start his show at 12 o'clock noon Eastern time. And
all the welfare recipients were waking up.
Yeah. So maybe your rooster is a welfare.
Hey, Gilbert, but you know what? In all seriousness, let's send this out, public service announcement, and all of us plead to Watchtower to use your Christianity. You claim to be Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. Why don't you try giving humanity a chance?
Yeah.
Use your wealth right now, not for buildings that nobody goes to and nobody learns anything, but for grandma and grandma who are getting repatriated in different lands. You will be paid back tenfold. I would suggest that if they did that, they would put in a profit. And then ICE doesn't have to go after the Jehovah's Witnesses. We could leave it up to the IRS.
Yeah, exactly. The last thing I was going to say is this guy said, U.S. prisons have many born-in Jehovah's Witnesses. This international business is a detriment to society. Yeah. When I worked the prison system as a Jehovah's Witness elder, a lot of people born in Jehovah's Witnesses in jail. Yeah, for different reasons, you know.
Okay, Gilbert.
Yeah, I got to go. It's late, and guys, we'll see you on the next one. Sorry we didn't have time for the Love Guru section, but we'll do that on the next one.
All right, man.
So you guys can ask your Love Guru questions, and we'll get to you. All right, we'll see you sometime this week. All right, see you later, guys.